Welcome to the Dylan Show. What's going on, people? How y'all living life? How y'all doing? Hope all is well with you guys. Appreciate you guys tuning in. Apologize for missed the past couple of weeks. We've been me and my mother have been on the move, changing our lifestyle. So we've been trying to get settled in, trying to get things refocused. So I appreciate you guys for keeping in contact and keeping patient with me. Appreciate you guys. Back this week though, continue my flow, trying to get back on track this week and keep focus on. Let's keep going. It's going. If you guys would help me introduce our guest for this week, please welcome Mr. Vincent Hunter. Woo, yes, sir.
Hey, what's going on? What's going on?
What's going on, man? First, I appreciate you again for coming on, man. How's life, man?
No
How's everything treating you right now, man?
Man, thank you for having me, man. Also, congratulations on your graduation.
Appreciate you, man. That means a lot.
Man, that's a big move, man. So congrats on that too, bro.
Appreciate you, man.
For sure.
It's been a lot of hard work, but it's
Yeah.
been very, very satisfying to get it all done and hopefully move on to the next chapter. But
Hell yeah.
how are you doing, man? How's everything treating you right now?
Man, everything's going good, man. Just living the everyday life of working and working out. Just doing a lot of family time, man. Just doing a lot of family time, making sure I'm loving on my family, loving on my kids, and loving on my wife and things of that nature.
Absolutely, man. We're gonna get into all that. But first off, for the guests and the listeners that may not know who Vincent Howard is, give them just a Vincent Hunter. Excuse me. Give them just a brief overview of who you are, man. Just let them know where you're from,
Okay.
and a lot of things you've been able to do to help you get where you are today.
Okay. Well, for the people who don't know who I am, my name is Vincent Hunter. Born and raised in Little Rock, Arkansas. A Little Rock native. Love Little Rock, love being where I'm from. Went to high school at J.A. Fair High School, where I won a championship my 12th grade year in 2003. From there, I went on and played for the University of Arkansas, where I played up under Coach Stan Heath and John Pelfrey from 2003 through 2008. So that was one of the highlights of my life, playing for the University of Arkansas. From there, I graduated from the University of Arkansas and went and played overseas for 12 years. I played in countries. When people ask me what countries have I played, I just tell them I played all over the world. I played all over Eastern Europe. I played all over South America, the Middle East, Asia. So I played in China, played Russia, Saudi Arabia. So the list goes on and on from that. From there, I retired from basketball and went into teaching, where I started teaching at East Stem Junior High, where I taught 7th grade career development and 7th grade computer science. So that's been my path journey, just teaching kids and coaching basketball, and just trying to teach these kids the fundamentals of the game of basketball like I did. And I've also written a book. So throughout that whole time, I've written a children's book called Junior and His Basketball Dreams. And it's doing pretty well, man. It's a book about my life. It's based on true events about my life stories, how I became an Arkansas Razorback basketball player. So, man, just pushing my book, teaching kids and teaching basketball is some of the top things in my life right now.
We're gonna start from the beginning, but this is where I actually want to start at. Talk about your book, and also let them know, after you kind of give them a brief overview of what it is and where the idea came from. Tell them where they can order the book and how they can purchase the book as well.
Okay. Cool. Well, man, the idea came of just playing basketball, dude. Want to make a change in the book industry, especially in our community. I felt like it needed a change for children, for elementary and up. Just something different, something that's going to be relatable, something that's going to have our type of skin tone, so they can understand that, hey, if you put your mind to it, you can achieve and you can do it. That's something that I did, and I also just wanted to put that into a book so our kids can have something to read, and also just go back and look at things that they can do when they're going through any life struggles or any life difficulties. Go back and read my book, and it give you a lot of motivation. And you can get it. It's on all social media platforms. You can go up under Vincent Hunter at Facebook. Look me up on there. You can also find it in Amazon as well at Junior and His Basketball Dreams. You can put in the search engine and it'll pop right up. It's very trendy. And also on Instagram, you could also follow me at PRMade at 33, and that's be on Instagram.
And I will also have the links to all his social medias and the direct links to where you can get the books. So if you didn't catch that or you didn't get it word for word, you can just go follow the episode and then get those links directly. So go support my guy Vince. He's doing a lot of good things. I always say one of my passions is mentoring the youth. I'm still young myself, but if I can teach people younger than me what I've been able to learn, I think it's something that I would be proud of 30, 40 years from now. And so what you're doing is very important. So continue doing what you're doing, brother.
Yeah. Thank you.
Talk about growing up in Little Rock, man.
Okay.
I always have the prestige honor, not only to talk to Razorbacks, but talk to people from the state of Arkansas and from Little Rock. We'll talk about growing up in Little Rock. What were some of the challenges you faced seeing growing up in the streets of Little Rock?
Well, man, that's a great question, man. Just growing up in Little Rock is, as people know, the Arkansas was a very small state, and Little Rock is, it's a very small city compared to other bigger cities and bigger states. So we kind of get looked over a lot.
Yeah.
And so with that, having that being people getting looked over mentality, you always want to work hard. I think that Arkansas and Little Rock people are blue collar workers, hard workers, man. We don't like anything being given to us. And I just took that. I didn't take that for granted. So I used that same mentality of being from Little Rock and used it into my everyday life, man. Is working hard, busting your butt in anything that you do, and also just loving on our Arkansans. I mean, they're diehard Razorback fans. They've been my fans since high school, really, and growing up from Little Rock, man, and in my area, being one of the tallest guys in the state. Of course, you get made fun of a lot because it's kind of weird to see someone that's like 6 inches taller than any of your other kids in your classroom. But it never did derail me, though. I just knew that basketball was my passion. I knew that God gave me this height for a reason. He didn't give me this height to play tennis or soccer. So I just used what God gave me, man, just try to use to my best ability. And yeah, man, just trying to use my talent to my best ability. And growing up in Little Rock is one of the great experiences that I've ever been through.
Basketball, as well as so many other sports, it's a ball, but it's given so many people opportunities to do things. It gave you the opportunity to be a Razorback, to be a professional player, to write a book, and to be an entrepreneur and teaching, etc. Talk about where your love for the game came from, and was it hard for you at first to kind of become a good player, or was it just natural that you kind of felt like this is what I'm really good and this is what I need to pursue at?
Yeah, well, man, the love came from just playing basketball in the neighborhoods. We wasn't in my neighborhood, we wasn't like a football-based type of neighborhood, so we always played basketball.
Yeah.
And everyone had a basketball goal in their backyard. So just playing basketball every day, I grew a love for it. And of course, I wasn't blessed like LeBron James and Michael Jordan for those guys to come out the womb and be good as they are. I had to work at it. I remember shooting the ball with 2 hands. I remember being the tallest guy on being picked and not being able to play that well. but it's just like the love and the fun of it. It just made me want to work harder. I just watched a lot of VHS tapes. One of my favorite players in the NBA was Reggie Miller. And I remember my dad used to record his games since I couldn't really watch his games at night because I had to go to bed. It was a little late for me. So he would record his games, and I would watch all of his highlights, all of his games. I know everybody's favorite player back in the day in my era was Michael Jordan and maybe Scottie Pippen, but mine was Reggie Miller because he could shoot, and I just wanted to be a shooter. And I just practiced on shooting, man, and shooting. And eventually I became a unique shooter. And with my height and being able to shoot the basketball, that kind of stood out to a lot of coaches. And I just had to perfect my craft in that.
You talk about Reggie, one of the most profound shooters the game has ever seen.
Right.
How have you seen the game change? And are you a fan of it in terms of shooting since you watch Reggie play growing up and now where it's predominantly shooting the ball behind the arc and it's a three-point game? Now, what's your opinion on that?
Man, I think that the game is evolving. Of course, I'm all about change, and I know things are never stay the same, right? So I'm just going along with it evolving. You know, with it being not such a dominant type of game where you throwing the ball to Shaquille O'Neal, he's dunking the ball every time, or they're going in for high flying dunks. It's more of a shooter game, and it's more of a guard oriented type of game. So, man, I love basketball. So, whatever change that comes with basketball, I'm just trying to embrace it as well because I won't stop watching it.
Growing up, as you start to develop your game, what outside of basketball kind of kept you interested? What were kind of your hobbies outside of sports that you kind of relied on to keep your mind settled?
Man, you know what? I didn't have any other hobbies.
That's I don't mean to interrupt you. That I'll let you go. I apologize. Every single guy that I've ever talked to that's played ball, whether they're in only collegiate right now or play professional, they say the same exact thing. I think that you guys are really into your craft. That's special.
I just think that, like, if you think about it, the more work you put into your craft, the better you will be. And if you're having fun doing it, it's not considered work. So it's more considered just having fun. So I was having fun getting better. I was having fun playing basketball. So it wasn't anything else that had my attention at that time. Until I got a little bit older, reading was a big thing in mine when I started playing overseas because, I mean, I know you're gonna probably ask me that question. We had a lot of long bus rides, so reading was a big part of my development as a professional. But as a kid, man, it was just basketball, man. Just basketball, 24/7. I don't remember not having a ball in my hand. And like I said, and that's one of the reasons why I created Junior's Basketball Dream, because he always had the ball in his hands too. And I just think if you just focus on your plan A, it's going to work out. It's going to work out.
You mentioned at the beginning how important your family was to you and your kids and your wife. Talk about growing up, how vital your parents were to you and how important the people around you, whether they were blood or not, were important to you to help you get through or help you become the better person you are today.
Yeah. My parents were very impactful. They supported when they started to understand that, hey, my son has a gift and he has a passion and they're going to support it. They actually did that. All my AAU games, they were there. They were supportive. I think just having the support in your dream and in your goal from your parents, that goes wonders. And they support you, even though they might not have the financial needs, but just having their presence. At the games, knowing that my dad's going to be at every one of my home games. He might not make it at every one of my away games, but I knew my mom and dad would be at my home games. And just having them had that support, and from my family as well, man. Everyone knew, especially around that time in high school and junior high, I was pretty popular in the state, and everyone knew that, hey, he's a basketball player. And I really didn't get in any trouble. All of my peers, all of my as people say, the OGs, right, in the neighborhood,
Yeah.
They watched out for me, man. I remember playing in some games, and people wanted to try to foul me hard and wanted to get me riled up and try to get me in a fight. I remember some of the older guys coming in and stepping in, like, hey, man, like, you don't need to do all that. Like, it's just a game. Don't lose your life out here trying to prove a point, because, when you're playing basketball in the streets, and just playing any neighborhood basketball, like, you want to win, you're competitive. And if you have a crowd, of course you want to try to embarrass that person, or try to win, and so the crowd can be up on your side as well.
What were some of the things that your parents taught you that have helped you be a very good father and a very good husband?
I would say, man, they taught me family is very important. And he also taught me work ethic, not giving up no matter what happens. I think a lot of people, when things tend to get tough, they tend to quit. And it's one thing my dad, I remember him telling me when he dropped me off at college, he was like, it was really short and brief. I thought he was going to give me a whole father and dad speech, like I see in the movies. Mm-hmm. All he said was, don't quit. He said, when things get tough, just don't quit. And, I really understood what that meant. I really understood what that meant when I was getting ready to go to college. But now as an adult, you're going to face many challenges as an adult, as a kid, young adult. But just don't quit, man. If you start something, you make sure you finish it through the end. And that's something that my parents taught me. It's something that also my friends and my neighborhood taught me as well. Like, if you're gonna do it, make sure you do it with all your heart. Make sure you do it with 100% effort, and just don't quit.
That's really good advice. Take that. Take that. And now saying that, what's it like to be a father? What's it like to be a husband? How has that changed and affected your life?
Man, it changed my life tremendously. Being the provider of a family, that's when that hard work and that work ethic comes in, because I would never let my wife or my kids try to suffer or go through anything that I went through. If I can try to help them be a better person in this world, I think that's one of my profound things that the Lord has blessed me with, is teaching people how to be good humans, and instilling the same family-oriented goals that my parents instilled into my life, and I do the same thing for my family as well. It's just like it's just a goal that just carries on, man. The name's going to carry on. The Hunter name's going to carry on. And when people think of the Hunter, of Team Hunter and the Hunter family, they're going to know that the Hunter family is hardworking, and they don't quit and they do not give up.
My great grandfather would always tell me, remember that your last name is everywhere you go.
Exactly.
And so that's vital to me as well. So that's very important. Going back, I want to go back to growing up for you. What was it like playing for Fair, man? And what was it like? What was it like just playing in the city? What was it like playing against McClellan, all the schools? What was it like?
It was, man, it was very fun. I remember every one of my high school games, especially as a senior, because it was a special time, because I had committed to the University of Arkansas, mm-hmm. and being the tallest kid in the state at the time in 2003, 2002 and 2003, and being one of the top players in the state, of course you have a bullseye on your back. And so I got everyone's best game. Every team, every best player, whether they were a guard or a big man, I got everyone's best game. And with me being as competitive as I am, I didn't back down for the challenge. So I was playing against some of my friends that I played AAU with.
Yeah.
And so it was a fun time. It was like how LeBron played against Melo. You know, it's like a reunion. Or how LeBron plays against some of his old peers that he played with when he first got to the league, or some of his high school peers that he played with. So it was always a jam-packed game. Every time we played within the city, like Central or Parkview or McClellan, Hall. And with us being such a small city, you know, you have one powerhouse game, everyone's going to know about it, and everyone's going to be there. So in my eyes, it's time for me to go show out. So that was my every in-state game that we had, it was time for me to show out. And I did that, and I made that known. And to this day, people still talk about, hey, man, I remember watching you play in high school. And they remember how dominant I was in high school, because I was just a no-nonsense type of player. I just wanted to I played with emotion, like Draymond Green, but I also had the skills that, like, I would say I would consider myself or compare myself to like a Kevin Garnett in a way, because I could shoot a little bit, but I was very competitive. I showed a lot of emotion, and I don't think people were ready for that emotional side, especially at that age. And especially in the city that we were from too, you know, screaming out and dunking on people. They wasn't really used to that until I started doing that on the scene.
Was there one school that you always was like, this is the team I'm most excited to play, or this is the player I'm most excited to play for? And that could be AAU as well.
Parkview.
Okay.
Parkview was like my arch rival. Only because I lived like 3 or 4 blocks from Parkview. And since it was a considered a private school, I had to be on a waiting list, and they did not pick me to go to that school. So I was like, okay, Parkview, you're in my sights.
I got you.
All year, from 9th grade to 12th grade, it was Parkview all the way.
Absolutely. What's so interesting to me, what your reputation showed in the state, is a lot of you guys kind of made a big bond during the Stan Heath, John Pelfrey time. And I think that carried on when Heath left and Pelfrey came in. Why was Arkansas your choice? What stood out about Fayetteville, and what made it different from the other schools that were offering you?
Man, growing up, another one of my favorite players was Joe Johnson. And with him being from Little Rock and being a Little Rock native, and him being the type of person that he was, I want to follow in his footsteps. And he doesn't know this. I don't think he's ever heard this before. So this is the first time even breaking this news. But I used to go to every last one of his high school basketball games, just because I just knew how good he was, and I wanted to like emulate some of his skills on the basketball court as well. So Joe Johnson was a big reason why me going to the Razorbacks, and also just being from Arkansas, man. Yeah. We don't have a pro team, so the Razorbacks is considered our pro team, and I didn't want to leave the state, and I knew I wanted to have my friends and my family watch me play basketball, and that's where I see my first college game was the University of Arkansas. With us not having cable, the Razorback games came on local stations, so it was easy for us to watch those games, so the football games, especially the basketball games, in that Nolan era. And it was just exciting, man. It was just some exciting basketball. I knew I wanted to be a part of it.
I know you're very heavy on watching basketball, whether it's professional, collegiate, high school, and the talent coming out of the state right now is as high as it's ever been.
Right.
Talk about the development of the program since you've left. You were there for Pelfrey for a little bit, and then Mike Anderson came in, and now Eric Musselman is doing this thing. What have you seen from the program, and how excited are you to see your alma mater be where it's at right now, and how it's progressing to be one of the top schools in the country?
Well, you know what, like I said earlier, it's about evolving. And it's nothing stays the same. And I understand that. I think a lot of people get that kind of misconstrued, like, hey, I want the old thing back, but nothing stays the same. And I'm very happy to call myself a Razorback and seeing how it is elevated. When in 2003, me, Ronnie Brewer, Olu Fematini, we were considered the top 5 recruiting class in 2003. And so I know the atmosphere on the hill of being a top ranked and top recruited player. And I know that since we have those top players on the hill now, I know it's exciting. The fans are incredible. The whole city of Fayetteville is, when I say diehard Razorback fans, they are literally diehard Razorback fans. I remember someone telling me that they wanted to be buried in my jersey because I was just such a profound player, and he just loved the Razorbacks. And when someone says that and asks you that, it just lets you know that, man, these guys are they're Razorback fans for real.
I know it was some years after you got there, but this program was just winning the national championship, going to Final Fours, less than 10 years before you got there.
Yeah.
Did you feel a lot of pressure going to a place of that altitude? And also, once you got there, what did you realize about the game that was different from high school?
Pressure, yes. Just going from high school to college is pressure regardless. And being a inner city kid, you have a lot of people that's going to be watching you, a lot of people that's been following you since you had a name. It's very challenging in a way, but it's also fun because this is what you've been preparing for too, mentally. The game compared from high school to college. Is that what you asked me? I would say the physicality of it. Going against, men. Like, I'm 18 going against 24 and 25-year-olds. And the strength that they had compared to my strength was second to none. Like, I didn't have any strength. So I knew that I had to get stronger. I knew that I had to get on a weight program for me to even try to compete with the top dogs. I knew I had to get more physical. And I think that's one of the most things that stood out to me is just the physicality of the game from high school to college. Because you really, in high school, I didn't lift weights in high school. But in college, you lift weights every day. So it was trying to get the understanding of how to use my body and how to use my strength, and when to use my body and when to use my strength as well.
One of my mentors and one of your good buddies, a former teammates, Untitled Chapter, told me the exact same thing.
Yeah.
How much time when you got to Fayetteville were you actually spending in the gym to make sure you could compete on the court?
Man, honestly, I don't remember a day, maybe on Sundays, that I was not in the gym. It was like literally Monday through Saturday. Only because, I love the game, and basketball is really just all I know, all I knew. I just wanted to perfect my craft. And we had 24-hour access to the gym. So I'm like, hey, when I just get a lot of shots up and perfect on my shooting and perfect on my defense and my weight condition and conditioning. So I would say I don't remember a day that I was not in the gym except for on Sunday because we went to church. Just Monday through Saturday, man, just being a gym rat.
You mentioned some of your teammates, Ronnie Brewer, Dontel, Rashad Sullivan. Talk about how big team chemistry and connection was to help you guys perform on the court.
I think the chemistry is very important. I think the chemistry comes from not playing, but just hanging out outside the gym. And us being as a tight, unit group that we were at the time, that's something that we always went bowling. We always went out to eat together. And we just also just created a bond. When you're in college, it's very important to create a brotherhood throughout your team because it's going to get challenging. And you don't have your parents to fall back on or anybody from home. And when me having an advantage of me being only 2 hours away, my parents can get on the highway right there and there and come see me. But my other teammates, unfortunate they had to play, out the state. And so they didn't have their family. So you get to lean on each other. And I think that creating that bond and that chemistry outside of basketball, you create those same relationships even outside, even after your career is done. Like Dontel Jefferson, he's one of my best friends. And I actually was his host when he came to visit. And so this has been almost a 18-year friendship that me and Dontel has had. And he's coming from Atlanta and I'm from Arkansas. Mm-hmm. And lo and behold, now he's in Arkansas. Mm-hmm. So we just, I was always told you find your best friends in college. You find your best friends playing basketball, going through the trenches and going through different adversity because that's all you have to guide you to help you. It's your teammates and the brotherhood.
What's one place in Fayetteville, food place, any place that you spend a lot of time at? What's one place you would recommend for anyone?
The Catfish Hall.
Oh,
the Catfish Hall is like my favorite place. I would tell anyone to go try those hush puppies with the honey butter. That's a place that I will, every time I visit Fayetteville, I even have a picture in that restaurant because I've eaten there so many times and I'm just a valued customer there. So I would say Catfish Hall for sure, Whittington.
Definitely agree with that one. For 18 plus years, all you know is Arkansas.
Right.
And then you're playing professional ball outside of this country. What's that transformation like? What's that transition like for you?
It's scary, I would say. Like I say, being from Arkansas and being from a small city in a small state, I've never really traveled outside of Arkansas. Mm-hmm. Like I said, I'm born and raised in Arkansas. I went to college in Arkansas, and the only traveling that I did was with the team. Mm-hmm. And so going out the country was shell shocking to me. It was very scary. It was very emotional, but the number one thing was that basketball. Yeah. I was chasing that professional dream that I was given. And it didn't matter where. It don't matter what a team was at. I tell people now, like, man, I was so dedicated to basketball. If they had a team on the moon, I would be playing on the moon. But it was just the dedication that I had, and I wanted to pursue it. I wanted to pursue my dream as a professional basketball player, and unfortunately, I didn't make it into the NBA. The next best thing was going overseas.
What were some of the things, not only that you picked up about your game overseas, but also that you picked up in general? Like, what did you have to learn about speaking different languages, different foods? What were some of the things you picked up about your body? Like, what were some of the different things you learned about yourself and the game?
Man, I learned patience, mm-hmm. a lot of patience, because you're going into a country that's not, their first language is not English. Mm-hmm. And you're going over there speaking English, and you're expecting them to speak your language. And that's very frustrating when you're trying to go shopping, and when you're trying to find something to eat, and when you're trying to go somewhere. So I had to adapt to their culture. I had to adapt to their way of living. Mm-hmm. And once I adapted to that, learning just picking up on certain languages of the food that I eat, my address, my numbers, the greetings. So I want to be respectful of them and their country. And I just didn't want to just be walking around with my head down and people speaking to me and me not speaking back. So I wanted to develop a relationship with the fans. I wanted to develop a relationship with the coaches and with my teammates as well. So just having the patience of learning another language and also learning different plays in another language was very key and very pivotal of me staying and having a 12-year career out playing overseas.
Can I ask you, because I've heard many people, not personal, but just like listening to podcasts, etc., interviews, and people say the absolute opposite of what you just said. You know, I'm just there to ball. I'm just there to do what I do so I can get out and make it to the league, etc. Why was it so important for you to learn those things, to build bonds, to make sure everyone knew that they could rely on you not only as a person but as a player as well?
Well, you know, a lot of people go over there to be over there, you know, not for a long time. I knew in my mind this is going to be my career. When I first got over, my first career was in Finland, my first pro contract. And I knew that that's something that I wanted to do. And so I embraced the country. I embraced the culture. And, you know, I'm a people's person, you know, so I want to go out and, you know, I like going to the park. I like going to go meet different people, especially a person that's 6'10", 250 pounds. It sticks out into a predominantly short race of people in that country. So I get a lot of attention. I tell people when they ask me, like, was I a superstar overseas? I would say yes. I was a superstar in my country. And I would describe it as like seeing LeBron James going to McDonald's. You will see a crowd of people. That's how it was with some of the American players playing overseas, going to McDonald's and seeing a group of a wave of people trying to come get your autograph. You know, that's powerful. That someone from smallest Arkansas, Little Rock.
Yeah.
I got people in Ukraine asking for my autograph. You know, asking for my jersey, asking me to take pictures with their kids, like things that are going to be, you know, passed down or you know, used as memories. Just a kid from Arkansas, man. I was very blessed, and I didn't take that for granted. I wanted everyone to know that, hey, you know, I'm here in your country. I love your country. I'm going to embrace your country, and I will never disrespect your culture.
That's really touching. If I could write a line of that, I would take it and use it. I really would.
Yeah, for sure.
That's really good stuff. From your high school career, AAU, collegiate, and even throughout your whole professional career, what was the one player that you say took you to work the most? what person gave you the most buckets?
Well, in 2003, my class was LeBron James, Chris Bosh, Chris Paul. I think Melo was in that. He wasn't in that class, but he was like in the 2002 area. 2000, yeah. From 2000 to 2003. But I played against a lot of players. But the one player that sticks out of my mind is LeBron James. I played against him quite a few times, and he was just dominant from tip, and he was my assignment. So because we were kind of almost kind of like the same height and the same stature, but he was a lot more skilled than I was. He was more of a guard, and I was more of a big. So he would take me down. I mean, you know, ISO me in top of the key, and I would ISO him down in the bottom of the paint. And we had a mutual respect for each other because we played each other so many times. And he respected my game, I respect his game. Of course, he went on to bigger and higher things in the collegiate level. But he's a guy who I studied for sure in high school, and also just as a professional as well. He was a guy that always had my number. We beat them one time out of 5 times. So that was one of the highlights of my AAU career is beating LeBron James.
I got in touch with you from Eastham, which is where I've spent my entire grade school career. How did you get involved with Eastham? You spent so much time away. How did you get involved with Eastham?
Well, that's a great question, man. It goes back to, creating that chemistry and that brotherhood. Rashard Sullivan, he was a teammate of mine. He was a teammate of mine in 2003 through 2005. And like I said, it's a brotherhood that we created when we was at the University of Arkansas. And he had a position open. He was currently the athletic director at that time. And he knew that I wanted to coach as soon as I got out of playing professional basketball. He knew I wanted to coach and mentor kids. And he gave me an opportunity. Excuse me. He gave me an opportunity to do that, man. I was very blessed and fortunate to teach and coach 7th grade and 8th grade basketball my first year.
Why was it so important for you to continue? Because I would say what you did overseas, you were changing lives as well. You were giving hope to people that may not have had hope, etc., just by playing a game. But you also did that with coaching and teaching. Why was it so important for you to do that when you came back?
Well, it goes back to being homegrown, man. Little Rock is my home. I wanted to show our youth that, man, you can make it too. Just a little bit of hard work and have passion and have faith. You can do exactly what I did. And I want them to not just, read about that in articles or read about that on the internet. They can physically see that. And a coach just giving them the same tangibles that was given to me that made me as a successful person. I want to give that back to them. And, being from Little Rock, you want to make sure that you're being represented right. And I wanted to try to represent my city and my state the right way. And I wanted to also just give back to the game of basketball that's given so much to me.
One of my passions is music. And I like to gotta get to know what's your music playlist like? Who you listen to a lot, whether that was growing up or now. Who are some of your top artists?
I am a big music person. Just being overseas and having those long trips, man, and also just we didn't have any cars, so we used to walk to practice, and just music that gave me a lot of hope. It gave me power, gave me motivation. So I mean, I'm a huge hip hop head. So what's in my rotation right now is J. Cole is a guy that I listen to a lot. Nipsey Hussle is a guy I listen to a lot. Tupac is a guy I listen to a lot. Man, I've started listening to Juice WRLD.
Okay.
It's a younger generation.
Yeah.
And just the messages that some of these young kids are putting out, man, are so powerful. And it also helps people too. It's therapeutic. It's very therapeutic. And I listen to a lot of gospel. I'm not too big into country, but R&B. What else? Jazz. I like rock. I just like I like a lot. Whatever speaks to me. Yeah. No matter what genre it is. If I like the beat and I like the message, whether it's country, rock, pop, R&B, rap, I feel the vibe off the message.
Yeah. 100%.
What about you, man? You mind if I ask you the same question?
No, for sure. Like I listen to everything really, like you said. Specifically, a lot of Young Dolph. a lot of Biggie, Sir Charles Jones, a lot of R&B, Marvin Gaye. Who else do I listen to? Some Drake, throwing a little Drake.
Yeah, okay, Drake. Yep.
I listen to everything. I throw on some country. I listen to a little bit of Luke Combs. If you listen to country, Luke Combs is my guy. But I listen to rock. I would say I listen to everything too. Gospel as well. I love Marvin Sapp. I love Dwayne Woods. My music taste is whenever we have a family event, they go to me for the music playlist because they know I can have the fit for everyone. So it's like my music playlist is very broad. So it fits everyone for real.
Yeah, I'm a DJ too.
If you could have dinner with 3 people, dead or alive, who would it be?
Wow, damn, that's a good question. Dead or alive? I would say one of my favorite people, Malcolm X would be one. Tupac. And I would like to Barack Obama.
Yeah, for sure.
You know, I would want to know like how it is to be like the head and chief of everything.
Yeah.
Like what's your everyday routine? Or what's when you wake up every morning, is there a new task that you have to put on your desk that you gotta go save the world again? That's be one of the reasons why I would like to, have dinner with Obama. Tupac was very influential in my life at a young age. Just the message and the Black empowerment that he possessed in me. I've watched all his documentaries, all his interviews. So I just would love to just, pick his brain on the Black empowerment of what he was taught. And Malcolm X is another guy who I look up to. Just the leadership that he had, and even though he had people against him, he didn't feather away. He wasn't scared of the consequences. He knew that he had a mission, and that was to teach the people, and he did that until his dying days. And that's something that I always want to embark. I want to always continue to teach. I always want to continue to leave an impact on our youth, and just not just our youth, but just as a Little Rock native, on our city. I want to leave a legacy. When I'm dead and gone or deceased, I still want people to know, hey, that's Vincent Hunter. That's Vincent Hunter's book, or that's Vincent Hunter's record that you're about to break. So just leaving that legacy for my family, just for my community, for my city.
That's real cool. I would throw Obama in mine too. I think.
Yeah.
I say this a lot. I was 4 when he first got elected, and so I was here, but I don't really, I wasn't really comprehending what was going on around me. I wasn't really understanding what was happening. And now that I'm older, I've gotten to understand that, this is.
Yeah, man. Being the first Black president, I remember being overseas when that happened.
Mm-hmm.
I was in Finland, and I remember my dad called me crying. My grandmother called me crying. This is when Skype was. Yeah. We didn't have Zoom or anything. It was just straight Skype, and it was just a very impactful moment, and the whole world seen it. Mm. And it was very big in the Black community. So, yeah, man, I will never forget that day. I will never forget that day.
For sure. One of the things I always do before I wrap up my interviews is ask my guests. It's like a 2-in-1 question. First, what advice would you give to anyone listening about life, whether you've learned it in basketball, your family, school? What advice would you give to anyone? And also, what legacy do you want to leave behind? What do you want people to know about Vincent Hunter that maybe they didn't get to know about you?
Man, any advice I would give to younger people and just to people, um, excuse me, out there is just like my dad told me, man, don't quit. I know it's very cliche, but we face so many challenges every day that makes you want to quit. Whether that's school, whether that's um, career, whether that's friends, whether that's your job. Like life is hard, right? And a saying that I will never forget. I didn't understand this as a kid. What Allen Iverson said, "Only the strong survive." Right? He had that inside. He had that imprinted inside of his shoe. And as a kid, I just thought that was just like, oh man, only the strong survive. Whoop de whoop, right? But as you get older, man, you see a lot of people that's out here that's committing suicide, that they can't take life. And if you're still living, if you still are breathing, and if you can hear my voice and hear your voice, man, only the strong survive out here. So you have to be strong. You have to be patient, and you have to have a belief in something. That's what I would leave the youth and leave other people, is just having a belief in something. Tell them that only the strong survive out here in this world. The world does not wait for you. You gotta go along with it. And what was the second question you asked me again?
What legacy do you want to leave behind about yourself? What do you want people to know about you?
Man, I want people to know that that Vincent Hunter loved where he was from. He loved Arkansas. He loved Little Rock. Um, that he was a hard worker, and that he left a positive impact on our world, our state, and our community, and especially in our Black community. I want people to know that I'm pro-Black, and man, I want to help people. I want to help children. I want to help low income families with my organization that with a new business venture that I'm about to do. So I just I'm for the people. I am for the people. I am the people. And yeah, man, that's what I want to leave my legacy for.
It's very powerful. I try to implement this as much as possible. If people watching this or listening to this, whichever one you're doing, if you don't remember anything that we just talked about, please remember that. Yes. Please take it, write it down, record it, whatever, and just listen to it. Because life isn't easy, but I promise you, if you have people around you and there's enough love in your heart, there's nothing you can't get through. So I appreciate you for saying that. That was really valid.
Don't quit. Do not quit. Do not quit. Like I said, I know it's so cliche. And it didn't make sense to me going to college. But as soon as adversity hit, like, I wanted to quit.
Mm-hmm.
As soon as I didn't get caught for that starting five, which I really worked hard for, I wanted to quit. And I just, I thought back with my dad. He was like, man, this is what he was talking about. The challenges that you're going to face in college and also in life. You just cannot quit when things get tough.
Don't give up. Don't ever give up. In the great words of Jim Valvano, man. That was
for sure.
That was powerful. I appreciate you, man. Your word has been very impactful, not only on me, but I hope it's impactful on someone else listening to this. So I appreciate you for taking the time out and talking with me, sharing your journey with me a little bit. Tell the people your social medias again so they can reach you out.
Yeah, okay. So my Instagram is PRMade at 33. No, PRMade 33, and that's my Instagram. And you can click on that. There's my book link is there as well. You can also find my book on Amazon, Junior and His Basketball Dreams. You can also find my book at Barnes and Nobles. You can also find my book at different Black-owned libraries. The Pyramid is one. And my Facebook is Vincent Hunter, which is my name. You can always shoot me a message or shoot me a quick inbox, and I can give you a link to my book. It's only $13. So please support. I'm trying to get to the best author list. So Little Rock, surrounding areas, the guys that are listening, people that are listening to this, please go support this local owned book, self-published. And it's my first book, so I'm very excited about it.
Absolutely, man. Again, I'll leave those links in the description. Go support my brother. He's doing great things. And if you want to give any shout outs, go ahead. You can give any shout out to anyone you want to.
Yeah, I'm gonna give a shout out to all my Razorbacks that's been on the show. As you know, you've had quite a few, and your interviews are dope, very inspiring, man. And just my parents, my mom, my dad, they're probably gonna be watching this here pretty soon. Just my family, my friends, man. Shout out to everybody in Little Rock. Shout out to my best friend DJ Dontel, Ronnie. Yeah, we're gonna keep it going, baby.
For sure, man. I appreciate you again, man.
I appreciate you.
I can say these things as long as I can and as much as possible, but it truly means the world for you guys to talk to me. I deal with a lot trying to schedule and get these done. And for you guys to help support the young kids to follow his dreams, it means a lot. So thank you again, man.
No problem, man. Keep going, bro. Keep going.
Appreciate you. Appreciate you guys tuning in, man. I hope you guys enjoyed. This was an impactful episode. A lot of advice given. Hope you guys can take it and run with it and take care of yourselves. Appreciate you again, Coach. Till next time. Thank you, guys.
Thanks, man. Peace and love.
All love.